You might have heard me talk about the story of St. John the Evangelist. He was the longest living of the apostles. We believe he lived into a ripe old age. And all the other apostles died as martyrs. And we believe that he would have spent out his last phase of his life in Ephesus, where he looked after Our Lady. Now, according to this tradition, when St. John was at an advanced age, he would be brought every Sunday into Mass, and he would say a few words to the congregation. And they would get him up and he'd address the people, and he would say, "Love one another." And that was all he'd say. And then he'd sit down and they went off and did something else. And this went on for a long time. And the community members approached him with great respect, and they said, "John, it's great to have you with us, and they are very, very beautiful, important words, but have you anything else to say to us other than love one another?" And then there was a little pause, and St. John said, "I haven't." That was all he wanted to say, was love one another. And the importance of love is put before us in the reading that we had this morning from St. Paul to the Corinthians, and this is often read at weddings. And St. Paul says there's all kinds of gifts that the Holy Spirit gives us, but without love, they all don't mean anything. We can have the eloquence of angels, but speak without love, I'm a gong booming or a cymbal clashing. I can have the gift of prophecies, understand all the mysteries. I can have faith in all of its fullness to move mountains, but without love, I am nothing. So love is number one, right? Now, to see this in the big picture, the primary thing that saves us, the primary thing that makes us a Christian, is that we believe in Jesus. That was the gospel that we heard last Sunday, Peter's profession of faith. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. It is that primarily that makes us right with God. But to see what comes after that, we know, of course, that God is love. So if we are really connected to God by believing in him, then we will be connected to love. If we say we believe in Jesus, but if we're not loving, then there has to be a problem with the connection. It's like if you're talking to someone on the mobile phone and it's very, very fuzzy and you can't really understand them and they can't really understand you, then there's a problem with the connection. But if we are connected to Jesus, then we are going to be a person of love. Last Sunday, again, to just reiterate this point, St. James told us that faith without good works is dead. So what is true love that proves that our faith in Jesus is real? Well, again, that's the value of the reading that we had this morning. And usually when there's a list of things, the first thing in the list is the most important. So when Paul tells us what love is, he says it isn't martyrdom. We don't have to go off and die as a Christian martyr out in some Muslim country. We don't have to fast on bread and water every day or do all of these great penances that the monks did in Ireland in ancient monasticism. It's something beautiful. He says love is always patient and kind. So if we can be patient and kind all of the time, we're ticking the very first box that true, authentic Christian love is about. Other translations of the Bible, rather than saying the word patient, they have long suffering. And we all know what it is to suffer maybe on a long-term basis. So we just stick at it, and that is the highest form of love, being patient, being kind, being long-suffering. And we can see now why this is such an important reading to have at weddings. And maybe a way of summing this up comes to us from the genius of St. Augustine. St. Augustine says, love is the thing that makes the whole world work, but there's two types of love. There is a love that is self-centered, all about me and self-worship and how good I look and how well off I am and all the rest of it. But then there is the other love, which is other-centered, centered in loving God and loving our neighbour, especially our poor neighbours.